Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I'm going to talk to you about the Baker Act and two misconceptions about the Baker Act that, if ignored, can lead to real trouble, can lead to somebody being detained for an extended period of time. So let me just back up a tiny bit. There are two types of Baker Act in Florida. Number one is the involuntary. That is the one that you would associate with the 72-hour assessment period. And two, there's voluntary. Right? Believe it or not, you can actually agree to be Baker Acted. Why would anybody agree? Well, to be perfectly blunt, is because you didn't know what you were signing. You got tricked. You got coerced. You got threatened. I see it all the time. Somebody goes to the ER, there's an issue with their medication, or they just don't feel that good, and somebody says, would you like to be assessed? Do you want us to look at your meds? I do. Sign here. And then they end up signing, and what they're signing is what's known as a voluntary admission agreement. Under the voluntary admission agreement, you can be held indefinitely for as long as they want to keep you. No lawyer, no judge, no due process, no rights, nothing. It's all gone. And here's the icing on the cake. Nobody actually knows you're there. And what I mean by that is there's no reporting requirements, so when the hospital or the Baker Act facility locks you up, they don't tell anybody that you're there. So you basically fall into this sort of giant black hole and you disappear. So that's the problem with the voluntary. Now the involuntary, and this is where I think the misconception comes, and this has happened a number of times just lately, and I don't know why. People will say to me, well, my loved one's there, but they're only there for 72 hours. I'm like, really, who told you that? Oh, I looked online. It says, you can only be held for 72 hours. No. The 72 hours is not the end, it's the beginning. It's the minimum amount of time that you can be held, not the maximum. The maximum is 6 months. Okay, now, unless your loved one is really seriously ill, do I think they're gonna get 6 months? Probably not, but I've seen it happen. I've had those calls. I mean, we've never had anybody that ended up getting stuck for 6 months after we handled the case. I get those calls after the fact, where the family, for whatever reason, didn't hire a lawyer, or they were like, oh, he's got the public defender, that's fine. And I'm not poo-pooing the public defender, but when you've got 20 or 25 cases on the same docket, and we've only got one, I mean, you just don't have the time to prepare. It's just not physically possible. And so, then they call us after the fact, and they say, well, what can you do? I mean, the judge has already heard your case. As a general rule, nothing. They're stuck. There's very little I can do after the fact. So the time to do something is during that 72-hour period. That's the best time to file. Now, is it possible they'll get released in 72 hours? It's possible. I mean, it can happen, right? But, normally when a client, potential client calls us, we're going to review the facts of the case. I sort of know just by what you tell me, based on the questions we asked, whether or not there's a good chance this person's going to get stuck. Do they have health insurance? Right? Is it the kind of, are there facts there that make me think this is the kind of case this facility is going to want to keep them? Is this a facility we've litigated against over and over and over again, and I know they like to keep people, right? I mean, we pretty much know as a general what's going to happen. So the 72 hours is not the end, it's the beginning, okay? The other thing that I hear a lot of, well, they've been Baker Acted in the past and they've never been kept, very long, a couple of days, maybe a week. So I'm not worried. I know they're going to get out. Oh, really? Oh, really? How many times do you think somebody can get Baker Acted before the state, because this is state action, even though they're being detained at a private for-profit facility, says, I think there's a problem here. This person's been Baker Acted 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times, and for whatever reason, nobody bothered to help this person. So you know what? We've got it. We're going to keep them. I mean, if you keep getting Baker Acted, right, if your loved one keeps getting Baker Acted, at some point, they're not coming home. And I don't know if it's after the first Baker Act, the third, the fifth, the 10th. I can't tell you that. I can tell you there are certain facilities that like to keep people. There are certain red flags that we know from, handling, 800, 900 of these things, right? So again, just because someone's, never been held for a significant period of time doesn't mean they're not going to get kept this time. In fact, if they've been Baker Acted in the past, right, I'd say there's a really good chance they're gonna get held, right? They're gonna get held. So I wanted to clear those myths up. Okay, you have to take the Baker Act really, really seriously. This is state action. It is the state stepping in, taking your loved one away from you, basically terminating their rights to make decisions regarding their medical and mental health well-being. And they become a ward of the state, and the state becomes their new legal guardian. And it doesn't matter if you have a healthcare proxy and a power of attorney, they are worthless when it comes to these kinds of cases. The state and their power is absolute. So take this stuff seriously when someone gets Baker Acted. So that's my 2 cents. I'd be interested to hear what your experience is with the Baker Act. I've shared my experience, my personal experience with the Baker Act. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you had a good experience, if you had a bad experience. Most people who get Baker Acted do not have a good experience. That's what I hear. If there's an issue that's going on in your family, you'd like me to talk about that, let me know. I'll make you a video. Because if it's affecting your family, good chance it's affecting somebody else's. And if you like this content, please give me a thumbs up. If you want more of this content that I make for you on a daily basis, please subscribe to the channel. And with that said, thank you for tuning in. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.